From Chinese apps collecting your data to the vulnerabilities of smart cars, have you thought about your own cybersecurity? Joining us now to discuss is Tony Perez. He's a cybersecurity expert and founder of NetLock. Tony, thanks so much for coming on today. So I want to start with a new report about Chinese social media apps. They were seeing an influx of users ahead of the TikTok ban. Now, Tony, although those headlines are exaggerated, we know the numbers reported are about 0.5% of all TikTok users in the U.S. Can you talk to us about the security risks associated with Chinese apps that aren't necessarily TikTok?
Well, it's really the collection of information and adding more points of reference for the database. If one of the newest trends in cybersecurity defense is called behavioral biometrics, and that's where they're tracking you every movement that you do 24/7. And by doing that, they are able to identify that you are actually you. So that collection of data can be used against us. So one of the concerns has been is that TikTok has an enormous database of American users right now. If they go further and use biometric behavioral data to enhance the data collection, that becomes a real security threat because that means they can break into anybody.
Chinese Communist Party want to collect that biometric data. You're saying they could use it against us, just tracking every movement. Can you kind of, in real time, explain how that could be useful to the CCP if they want to attack the U.S.?
Well, one of the other common attack practices is called spear phishing. And spear phishing means you focus on certain targets that have valuable information. So if let's say you're a cybersecurity leader and you have a family and they collect data from your son or daughter that's on TikTok that eventually leads to some of the activities that you're doing. They can take that information and it makes their attack more precise when they go after that type of person. So spear phishing, this extra data really helps spear phishing.
Wow, that's definitely quite concerning. Something else that could be concerning is the CCP collecting data for cars. The Biden administration is finalizing rules now to bar nearly all Chinese cars and trucks, including smart cars, from the U.S. market. What cybersecurity risks do smart cars pose?
Well, basically, the industry are looking at cars as a computer on wheels, and that instantaneous feedback that they're getting allows them, once again, to follow your habits, where you're going, etc. So if I'm tracking somebody and spear phishing them, I want to know their daily habits. I want to know where they go, what time, because if I'm planning an attack, I'll look for the most vulnerable position that they're in.
Now, with that being said, do you think that the Biden administration's move to ban these vehicles is an effective way to address those risks?
No. Because there's nothing to prevent a Chinese spy or any spy, not just China, but any spy from buying a U.S. car or learning how to track these sensors to gather information. The problem is we cannot really regulate businesses in a way to know who owns those businesses. There is a lot of effort to disguise who the ownership of the business is. And therefore, it's easy for all kinds of countries to learn more and more just by entering our common devices that we provide to the consumer. Oh, your telephone, your car, the Internet of Things. There's 30 billion Internet of Things, and what I'm talking about there are smart devices. Your refrigerator, your air fryer, your garage door opener. All those things operate, quite frankly, off a radio signal. That's the weakness.
Our last question here, just could you comment on a comment that former FBI director or outgoing FBI director Christopher Wray told 60 Minutes? He said he believes that the Chinese Communist regime is the greatest threat to the U.S., saying, quote, China's cyber program is by far bigger than that of any major nation combined and has stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than that of every nation, big or small, combined. Now, Tony, I want to ask you, what focus would you like the new administration to prioritize in cybersecurity to better protect our national security?
Well, I agree with his statement. I think it's extremely accurate, and most professionals in the business understand that. The thing that we need to do is, and what has worked in the past, is we need to incentivize the high-tech leaders with tax credits and tie those to have the leaders sponsor innovators to help them get their products to the market, the public market, as well as the private market. Legislation and the cost of it actually increases the cost of trying to do business so dramatically that the innovators, small innovators like myself, we can't afford it. We just can't afford to do that. So we need to help a larger leaders in the business. The second thing, AI has no boundaries. We cannot be isolationists. We need allies. We have NATO allies. Canada and Mexico need to be allies. We should not do things that work against their best interests, because our real economic interest is going to be tied to how well we're able to regulate AI and its use in the future.
Thank you so much for your expertise and your insights here, Tony Perez. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.